A disappointing night for Chelsea, of course, but really there is only one place to start, and that is Lionel Messi. Tonight, did they just run into the wrong man at the wrong time?
I mean, what can you say? For me, he's just the greatest there's been. I mean, he keeps cropping up and scoring the goals and doing it on the big stage as well. And that's where a big player has performed. But he
wasn't his best tonight, was he? Like, he was great. He was good. He scored 2 goals, but they weren't like he did something extraordinary to score those goals.
But he does that a lot. He does that a lot. You see him in a lot of games that he's not involved. He's walking, he's standing around, and all of a sudden, bang, just crops up, gets a goal, like he's done tonight. So
yeah. I mean, he's the third goal where he actually takes that touch and then sprints past the defence. That's what Messi can do, and he does it so well. You see the clip. He doesn't even look up. He just knows where he's going to play the ball. He's going to aim between the keeper's legs and hope that the keeper opens his legs up. And obviously with Thibaut Courtois on 2 occasions.
Should he have done better?
I think he should have on the first one particularly. Yeah, definitely. I mean, from that angle, he has to do better. I wouldn't expect a goalkeeper of his level, of his quality, to concede from that sort of. And he'll hold his hand up and say he should have done better. And I think he'll also look at that third goal and say, I should have kept my legs closed. I should have saved it.
The thing with Messi, he seems to always surprise us. However good we think he is, however much we heap praise on him,
yep.
We've run out of superlatives. He just keeps on doing it.
Just keeps raising the bar. The standards that he sets himself, he just wants to better. I think the competition between him and Ronaldo is brilliant because they both want to be as good as each other.
Do you think Messi has that bigger competition, or do you think it's more Ronaldo who's the one that looks at those stats and that competition?
Ronaldo's got the ego, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He wants to be there with the trophies. But I think even if Ronaldo wasn't in the frame, I think Messi would still be producing the goods.
Do you think he's, not just on tonight's display, but for you, as he edged out? Because at the start of the season, all the talk was, you've got to put Neymar in there as well. Neymar, Messi, Ronaldo. Is he out on his own now?
For me, he is. Well,
I mean, up until, what, 2 weeks ago when he played at Stamford Bridge, he was 1 game away from his worst run in 10 years. And that was not scoring, you know, that was 6 games without scoring. So you could argue and say he was almost past it. No, listen, he's brilliant. He's unbelievable. And what he's done in his career, I mean, he scored his 99th and 100th Champions League goal tonight. He scored over 600 career goals. I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, he's only 30 years old. I mean, the guy could continue to play for at least another 4 or 5 years, at the very least. I
was going to say, because also, do you think his build actually adds to his longevity, or help his longevity, rather?
I think it will, yeah. I think it does. I mean, because his game's not based just on pace. Like, I think with Ronaldo, yes, he's got all the skills and everything else. However, he's had to alter his game dramatically because his pace was such a big thing. Whereas now you see Ronaldo, when he gets the ball at times, you watch so many games where an opponent is there, he won't try and knock it past him. He knows the opponent, he knows he's not quicker than him, he won't do it. He'll look for support, he'll try and do a trick. Whereas Messi, you know, I think the way he plays and the skills he has on the ball and the one touch and often the pass and go, give and go, I think he'll go a lot longer at playing that level.
How many times, or indeed ever, have you seen an opponent or a system nullify him? Plenty have tried.
Put me on the spot there. I've not seen it. I've not seen it. I mean, you could put 2, 3 players on him. He wriggles out of that. You know, he's a danger to opposition when he's got the ball, when he hasn't got the ball, because people are so wary of him. He's just a constant threat. You know, in games, as I said, when he's walking or even non-existent in games, he just crops up, scores a goal, wins the game.
I think Chelsea went close 2 weeks ago. It was one mistake that let Messi in. I think overall they contained him reasonably well in the game. He had glimpses. He's always going to have glimpses in a game because he's so good. But I think they contained him reasonably well last time round.
Chelsea were a bit like kryptonite for him. Well, they was. I mean, he had a bad record, didn't they, against them? And then obviously in the last tie, you put that to bed. And then this one here,
he's put on the afterburners.
Well, he can't stop scoring now, can he? I mean, he's 3-2. So all of a sudden that record's out the window, and now he enjoys playing against Chelsea.
Are you hoping that we see a Barca-Manchester City final? Is that the one you want to see?
Yeah, I think it'd be really interesting because obviously the ties between Guardiola and Barcelona, where does his heart really lie? We all know him. He's a real staunch Catalan supporter. He's from the area. He's someone that I think come up against Barcelona, there'll be that little bit in the back of his mind. Oh, I think leading up to it, I hope I don't come up against Barcelona.
Well, not even, say, a final, that they draw each other at some stage. That's disrespectful to the other teams, Liverpool included. But it'd be absolutely fascinating to see how Pep,
Yep.
who likes to change his tactics, how he approached the game.
To see them go toe-to-toe would be brilliant. The thing with me is this Barcelona side is not the Barcelona side of a few years ago, where they was dominating. I know they are now. I mean, they're still in line to do the treble, aren't they? Their domestic treble. But Pep's tactics are just on another level, and I think he'll keep raising the bar. I know you said there about his allegiances and what he'll want that, but he's a professional, and they say that sort of Jose's he's that serial winner. But he'll 100% win.
Oh, yeah, he's hungry for success. Yeah, I mean, of course, he'll do whatever he has to do to win it, and he'll do it looking well, looking good, playing great football. And they are clearly, for me, Man City are definitely the best team in the world at the moment in the way they play football.
Having said that, though, Chelsea certainly didn't play badly tonight. I mean, they hit the woodwork 3-4 times.
Yeah, they did, and I think you have to give them some credit because of the way they approached the game. They, automatically with playing Giroud up front, they showed that they wanted to put Barcelona under a bit more pressure. They wanted to stretch them possibly a little bit, and I think they were unlucky. They were unlucky. Barcelona hit them at the right time. We
obviously spoke, didn't we, and said that that they've obviously gone a goal down early, could easily have crumbled. They stayed on it. They stayed on the front foot. I've not seen Barcelona defend as much as they have done tonight.
Throwing bodies on the line constantly. Yeah,
last-ditch tackles. I mean, Chelsea was fantastic. They was really. They deserve more out of the game.
Is the scoreline harsh on Chelsea? Or is it the brilliance of Messi that makes it just?
Obviously, it's the brilliance of Messi, but, over the two games, I don't think Chelsea could have really have played much better. Their game plan in the first. The only
thing they could have done was hit the back of the net a few more times, which they were really unlucky in the first leg. Willian hit both posts, conceded through one mistake that killed them in that game, and then today in the Nou Camp, they hit the crossbar again. That is a couple. I mean, the final pass just wasn't quite there today, and I think that frustration. The longer the game went on, they conceded another. All of a sudden, it's just that frustration, and everything becomes more dire. And in the end, they just lacked that little bit of clinical end product.
I mean, before the game, it's clear it's not been a happy camp at Chelsea for quite some time. If you said before the game, look, they're going to get beat 3-0, possibly there'd be even more questions about Antonio Conte. But the manner of the defeat today, you'd have to say that's not the case.
I think that's what it's all about. I think it is really about the manner of the performance and the intent. And I think Chelsea showed all the right signs. They did everything. The intention was there. And yes, they come up against the brilliance of Messi. But like I said, I don't think he was that brilliant tonight, but he took his chances when he had them.
Schwarzer, how many times have you come off a pitch and lost the game but played really well?
Quite a few times in my career,
and it's not
come off a pitch and lost. Not necessarily played well, but lost.
No,
yeah.
But you know what I mean? You've played well, and it's not really affected your confidence. You've sort of gone, right, well, you're looking forward to the next game. There's games where you've got beat and you're like, well, we've got absolutely battered there. But then if you get beaten in sort of that manner that they've done tonight, that's not really going to affect them. They'll be looking forward to that next game.
Well, the next game is Leicester in the FA Cup.
Huge.
And then, arguably, a much bigger game against Tottenham in the Premier League.
Yeah. So, I mean, Leicester's huge now. That's the FA Cup. So if they lose that in the space of a week, they've been knocked out of 2 competitions. Then they obviously go with the game with Spurs. And then that's a top 4 sort of decider, really, even at this stage of the.
Well, their chances are gone then, isn't it, for any silverware if they get knocked out in the FA Cup? Yeah. Then it becomes a bad season for Chelsea because they're not used to not winning trophies. And so this weekend's game against Leicester is enormous for them in terms of silverware. And I think classing this season is not necessarily a success, but they'll take some more heart from it.
They've been really inconsistent this season. I mean, especially in the turn of the year 2018. I think they've won 4 games in what is it? 4 games out of 15 in the Prem. So it's not great showing for a club of that stature.
1 win in 5 right now.
Yeah.
4 points off of Liverpool. Would you say it's right on the line, or the odds are against them to qualify for top 4? They've got both Tottenham and Liverpool to play in the running.
They can still do it. It's in their hands to do it, and they've got the players and the capability to do it. I just think where other teams are and their levels and their other teams' consistencies, I think Chelsea will just miss out.
That's the key, isn't it? The consistency that Chelsea hasn't had We talked about, Steve just mentioned there, since the turn of the year, and that's their biggest issue. And that's any team that's is competing to win the title. You have to be consistent. You have to keep putting 3 points on the board, and they haven't done that consistently this season. And that's going to be their biggest challenge with 8 games to go. All of a sudden, they've got to be consistent in those last 8 games.
Under pressure as well. This is the pressure end of the season now, and to perform at that level under pressure, it's going to take their big players to come out and take charge.
As well, when it's not a happy camp, as we said, we've seen, but a performance like tonight, there's certainly no signs that they're not playing for the manager, and secondly, they are all pulling together, aren't they? That was a team performance, wasn't it?
It was, and I think. It was, in one way, I think just from before they started the game, it was a more positive approach with going with Giroud up front. I think 2 weeks ago when they played him at home and they had Hazard playing that false 9, there was automatically, well, gosh, are we going more negative? Are Chelsea looking at just trying to get a result at home? But the performance was there, even though the possession wasn't there. But they had the chances, they had the better chances, they should have won the game. So I think it's all about the performance. It's all about the togetherness of the team, and they showed that tonight.